convey my deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all of you for having come here, because sharing of information is crucial, and that's how we add to the vibrancy of our democracy. So my heartfelt thanks to all of you. I am here today to at least ensure that you have the words from the horse's mouth, because my attention has been drawn to quite a number of media reports, and I think I was not accessible for some time. So obviously, you have done your part, and then the overall media reports are available before us. So I think the important aspect is that as far as Dr. Mukul is concerned, I had the privilege to really contribute in building a very, I must say, the Grand All Party, which has been built by our forefathers with definitely with a purpose which is before us. And while during my childhood as well, I had the privilege to follow my parents, because my parents were in Congress from then. And Ampati, as you know, was one of the seats which was always a Congress seat. It has always elected and returned Congress candidates, except 1988, when there was a coup within the party, as usual in Congress, which is always not unexpected. And an independent candidate won for the first time, and Congress was defeated. Therefore, the whole dynamics of the politics was such that all the members who had this whole alignment with Indian National Congress, who had the kind of deep relationship with this Grand Old Party, wanted me to join politics. And I tried, because I was a medical officer then. So it took a long time for me to get my resignation accepted. So I couldn't get the party ticket. I had to contest as an independent. After that, 1998, I first got elected as a member of the Indian National Congress into the August House. And ever since then, I have had the privilege of being associated with this Grand All Party and have been building the party in whatever humble way I can contribute along with the leaders of this great party. Now, therefore, I continue to strive to ensure that this party is strengthened. And if there are reasons for us to see that there are factors which are bound to weaken the party, we must, from my perspective, I see that I must be also responsible for pressing for any course correction. I have always maintained that any wrong need not be just left as, okay, it's wrong, so you need not make any attempt for a course correction. We must always take cognizance of any mistake, any wrongdoing, or anything which is considered as not inconsistent with the purpose that we want to achieve. And therefore, in the present context, I have always kept my cards close to my chest. I have shared, you have to bear the burden of allowing me to maintain that whatever is matters required to be resolved within the four walls of the party will be resolved within the four walls of the party. The most important thing that I would like to share with you all is that we build political parties because in our given democracy, the political parties provide us the platform on which we stand. We stand firm to be able to bear the burden of serving people, serving state, to take the burden of responsibility of governance whenever vested with this privilege and responsibility. And that's why we need to ensure that any political party to which we belong to, we must ensure that that political party to which one belongs must be capable of giving you the firm ground to be able to stand and bear the burden of taking the responsibility, the weight, the burden that comes along with the responsibility of serving people and serving state. I have always maintained that politics is one of the toughest jobs, and therefore building political party to which one have the whole commitment and conviction, keeping in mind that that particular political party provides a platform. I think it is very crucial for our democracy to sustain democracy. If all the political parties are strong and vibrant, you will see how vibrant the democracy will be. Therefore, it is crucial for anybody, to whichever political party one belongs to be a factor to strengthen that political party and do justice to the position that we occupy as members of the rather who choose to be in public life and serve people. So as of now, my focus is to see that I press for looking at how the things have gone and to have the needed course correction, which I feel must be done within the four walls of the party. Thank you, friends.
So what are these issues that, according to you, need the course correction of the
Yes.
command?
Yes. You see, as I have maintained, when you want to resolve things, you have to ensure that sometimes you don't uh, actually dwell on those issues outside the four walls, because then it may be very difficult to resolve them. So therefore, when we talk about resolving issues within four walls of the party, then you will have to bear with me that you will not be able to get all those details.
Not even a sneak peek.
See, as you follow the whole development as unfolded, I think to some extent you already have, because you all are capable of being analytical on any development that unfolds. And you have that capability, you have that strength, which I do not have. So even without being told, many of the things you already know, and you have a mechanism, you have an inherent system to get into things and be analytical. Because I see most of you write sources. I don't know where the sources are. We don't get those sources. So the access that you have to inputs and informations, I think we must appreciate. I appreciate that.
But a lot of speculation has been going on during the past few days of you meeting with the LCA leaders and
Yeah, I saw the news.
reports saying that
I saw the news, but
likely to
even the dates I saw, even the timing I saw, maybe evening on what, 23rd. In fact, 22nd evening I was in Radisson. I wanted to had haircut, but then the barber wasn't there. So yesterday I came to Shillong. I was reading the news, but I was intentionally. It was by choice that I wanted to remain inaccessible, because I want to talk to leaders in Delhi whom I need to talk to. I don't want to talk to anybody else.
Doctor, media reports suggest that Mukul Sangma is in touch with NPP to form government in 2023.
See, I will not comment on how he works and what is his. I think, see, every person has their different own way of doing things. Now, obviously, uh, people know me, how I handle things, how I deal with issues. So also people know other politicians. I think people will know, and they will know more of him. That will not be something which I should be willing to elaborate. And then you have to ask him.
Yeah, but, you see, you're speaking of two meetings of the Congress party
Mhm.
are very put people in different thought. So can you just tell us what you have seen this two meetings?
I think you will appreciate the fact that that itself create a perception. Now, what is the perception? That perception itself generates this whole narrative. Now, what is the narrative? Narrative obviously revolves around something which I have said that I will press for some course correction. I will press for course correction uh, at an appropriate level within the four walls of our party. That is what I will do. So rather than having a verbal diarrhea, I think it's better for me to keep quiet and share with all of you when it is appropriate, and I will share the appropriate information, whatever is. Mm, inconsistent with the expectation in our given democracy. As politicians, we need to share certain inputs, but timing is important. Timing is important. It is important for us to decide upon the right timing to share any inputs, because we, at the end of the day, represent people. So people must know what is in my mind, what is in our, scheme of things as we plan ahead. Because at the end of the day, why are we in politics? Why am I in politics? I am in politics because I find that this platform is there, which I must utilize, because I have an intent. I have an intent to not blame others, but take upon myself and assume upon myself the responsibility of taking care of my people and taking care of my state. That's exactly was the reason why, at a very young age, I left my original profession, beautiful profession. I had so much of uh, satisfaction being a medical professional, treating patients. But again, this profession also revolves around serving people. So I've shifted my original profession, and the purpose is very clear. The purpose is to see that a state which was grappling to find leaders who respond to the call of duty and try to at least sincerely attempt to fulfill the aspirations of our people, are available amongst the people who are part of the members in the political class, or other words, who are choosing to be in public life as politicians, as people's representative. So that was the whole idea. Therefore, our commitment still lies. And my whole priority is the people of the state, the issues that confront our people, to ensure that there are political leaders who are capable of taking cognizance of the issues which confront people. There are politicians who are capable of taking cognizance of issues which affects people's life, and therefore are available to see how things can be resolved and addressed. And that is important, because we must be able to send at least a ray of hope for the people, for the younger generations, for the children, grandchildren. And that's where, the overall feel good factor can be generated, and there can be an atmosphere of uh, peace and development. Peace is always prerequisite for development, but peace can sustain only when there is a feel good factor amongst the masses, among all sections of people. In other words, when the programs of the governments are seen to be inclusive, capable of addressing the concerns of everyone, capable of taking cognizance of the aspirations of people from all strata of life. So that is what we tend to do in a humble way. We have shortcomings. We are not perfect. We would like to always, that's why I always say, if I say that I tried my best, then I'm telling lies, because we have never tried best. Dr. Mukul also has never tried his best. Even if I wanted to try my best, I could not try my best, because there are many other pulls and pushes, many other things which come on the way, many other hurdles which are, put before me. So therefore, we have not been able to do justice to the potentiality that God has gifted us and bless us with. We will try. We will try to unleash the potentiality that we have in the truest of the term, in serving the people of the state.
Doctor,
Yeah.
for many political parties, you're the most wanted, simply wanted. You to join them. How will you respond to them if there's a call?
See, it is natural. It is natural, because I have friends all across. I have friends all across different political parties, and whether within the state or outside the state, we have known each other for a long time. And I have had the privilege of knowing many people. So it is a natural thing. But then what is important is to see that to whichever party we belong to, we first try to strengthen that party. And the purpose of strengthening that party is to ensure that that party is capable of providing us the platform, a platform with a strong foundation, to be able to do justice to the responsibility that we assume upon ourselves as elected representatives. And therefore, the whole purpose of being in a political party revolves around taking care of the interests of the people. And anything that handicaps us, we must address them.
And there's a
Sir,
call
you mentioned that you wanted to speak only to the leaders in Delhi. So any communication as to when the AICC will call you to Delhi?
Yeah, see, this is not going to be a one-way exercise. Obviously, it cannot be one-way exercise. It is both ways. In fact, I have not been picking up phones, but today I have started picking up phones. Okay, so I have I have picked up phones because sometimes it's better to keep quiet, and I think silence speaks louder than words sometimes.
No, just one small thing, basically referring to Master and Iman's question.
Mm.
So in these past couple of days, there have been news reports, some verified, some unverified.
Mm.
Like the MPCC president, Mr. Pala, said he had said publicly, perhaps Dr. Mukul is upset with me. He's my boss, he's my friend, and all of that. He seems to indicate that there is a difference between you and him, or you are upset with him, and he's gone publicly. On the other hand, you said, I'd rather sort my family matters within the four walls. So he's being like open. So in order to at least negate or just rectify that, so people don't misunderstand, could you just tell us at least, is there any truth in such speculation that all is not well between the two?
No, then I deviate from the way I do things. If I tell you now, if I respond to this question, then I'll be deviating from the way I approach things and the way I look at resolving issues when it is an issue within the party. So I think I'll not deviate from my usual approach.
You still rather keep that
Yes.
to yourself.
Can you tell
So
us,
the NCC,
Yeah, Jokes.
can you tell us after Pala future, there is a feeling of Kasi Garo divide. Can you just elaborate?
See, if you're talking about these, I will tell you one thing. Let us not refer to anybody. It is my honest confession that we need to do more to create that bond of understanding, to enable us to have the sense of oneness as people who belong to this state. It is there. Now, why those issues? Why was the ambush issue? How was ambush issue tackled? You have seen all. It is not, I'm not talking about just present. It's a trend which has been set. And by no other person but politicians. It includes me also. It includes me. We have failed in infusing the sense of oneness amongst our people, but we have to try. We have failed, so I'm taking cognizance of that. That's why now our job will be to unite our people. My first and foremost job as one of the many, one amongst the equals who is elected representatives, one of the elected representatives will revolve around that focus. And that's when, you will see how our state can realize its true potentiality to the optimum level. Today, the state's potentiality is so much. I was referring in the House. Look at 2014. After the order of the NGT banning the rat hole mining, your whole GSDPs dropped like a vertical drop, 1.2. We revived. We recovered. The next year itself, next financial year itself, it came to 8%. Just see. Is it only because of Dr. Mukul? Is it only because of the way we take upon ourselves the style of governance? No, it is because of the inherent strength that the state has. It is because of the inherent strength that the people have. You look at how we generated that momentum of growth during that period of time. You see, in spite of what happened in 2000, in spite of all those negative things which used to come on the way, I think we have more positive things which overshadow the negative things and ultimately enable us to generate the momentum of growth and development. And you could see how even the old lady who used to sell 500 rupees per day used to start selling 5,000 rupees. So you just look at the impact on the economy. If I earn 1,000 rupees per day, suddenly because of the whole positive growth momentum generated by a good adoption of a good governance, you start seeing, more transaction, more return, and I'll end up selling. If I'm a suppose you look at, I used to be very fond of these makai, maize, corn. So last time when I went to West Castles, I saw some women, burning the thing, usual that on the charcoal makai. So you look at, we used to see just two, three people in the queue, but when the whole uh, momentum of growth with all the positive stories made Meghalaya one of the most sought after destination, what did you see? People lining up in tens, in 20s. So this is how you change. This is how you create a positive impact on everybody's life.
I think that to ensure this, what are the steps you are going to take? Will be a meeting to discuss this matter because definitely the total.
I have already made it abundantly clear that I'm going to talk to the right people within the party. We have uh, our own inherent given system, and I will invoke it. Okay.
Doctor,
And I'll press for whatever I feel is required to be corrected.
Doctor, will you yourself go to Delhi or will you wait for AICC to call?
This leave to us. At least details on us. Yes, brother. Yeah.
You were never consulted for the party leadership.
I'll be sharing all this concern at the right platform, right forum within the forums. Okay. Subsequently, you will get inputs. I think I'll be very open and transparent as we move forward. And any good thing that happens, I will share with all of you so that people know. Yeah. People have the right to know. Yeah, thank you.
So can we take your comment on other issues?
Yeah, of course.
The CAG report has pointed out that more funds have been surrendered by this present government. Over 5,000 crores utilization certificates have been surrendered by this present government.
See, I have shared this concern even inside the house, outside the house in the preceding years. I have, in fact, on the last day when we had the privilege to dwell upon issues during the short duration discussion, I also referred to certain programs which should have been considered as a low-hanging fruit, meaning available resources, ready-made available resources which were made available to the government because of the initiatives of the preceding government. So since we were the authors that time, we know what were those programs. They were having money, they were sitting on money, they were not spending. You see, what they say is different thing, but what is the reality is a different thing. So all these facts and figures only substantiate, okay, what I say. So you will have a beautiful story because you already have the inputs in the house, what was shared by us, and you also have all those facts and figures, which are not something which is on presumption or assumption. Now you see what happens. You have number of projects. You have the medical college, which is funded by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. What is the status? I have said it in the house. The whole work is completely at standstill. Then you have number of institutions. I'm talking only about the educational institutions. Forget about others. Okay. I have talked about the fund by the World Bank for the whole road network. All the road network, which is part of the road network under the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. In other words, the national highways. All these national highways and the program which is funded by National Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, which were part of the program under the SARDP, they are all supported and funded by JICA. Japan International Cooperation Agency. Then what about the state roads, the state highways, the inter-district roads, and various important roads which we considered as economically important roads, strategically important roads. They are covered by the fund under the MITP, by the World Bank. So these were all ready-made, available programs. We signed agreement with JICA in 2015, which includes your Dauki Road, National 44, and then your up to Dalu, that whole National 51 stretch, including NH62. So what is that is preventing them from taking advantage of these available resources and pushing the program? You see? Now, what happened to that NH 127B, one of the most important project ever sanctioned in the Northeast, with a bridge over Brahmaputra, which is going to be the longest bridge over Brahmaputra, connecting Dhubri to our Garo Hills Fulbari, at Fulbari. What has happened to those road which comes up to your Nongstoin? NH 127B is from Sidarampur to Nongstoin. NH 44E is up to Nongstoin only. Okay. So you have this whole developmental program which has already been cleared. Funding has been already tied up. So resources are available. Then you look at the programs which are covered under Ministry of Donor. You had recently seen the team from Rajya Sabha coming and visiting the state, the petition committee. Why have they come? What have they seen? I think you must ask them. I believe they must have given some press briefing, or I don't know. But the thing is that there is serious irregularities in utilization of fund. Serious irregularities. In other words, I will say in Hindi, idhar kamal udhar, udhar kamal idhar. Okay. That is where this whole issue of not being able to submit UC. Why you can't submit UC? Suppose a program. Say, for example, I'll give you an example of simple program, MLS scheme. When we award the work to a community, village community, village development community, once they do the work, they submit the UC. Done. If they don't do the work, they will not be able to submit a UC. You got my point. So the fact that they have not been able to submit utilization certificate against those funds which they have received from different line ministries indicates that they have not utilized the fund for the purpose. And that's why they could not submit a utilization certificate. And that's why the delay, that's why the deprivation of the state. Now, if you cannot, let me be very blunt, if you cannot absorb the money which has been released to you as a, if the line department cannot absorb, then what happens? You deprive the state of that fund. If you delay by 3 years, that means you have deprived further fund coming, because the same amount which would have come the subsequent year will not come. Now, what happened to the big talk, rhetoric of that Eclabia schools? What happened? You ask them. Eclabia schools. Huh? What happened? So where is the money? Has the money come? Has the work started? All these things, But how many years have passed since the time when it was approved? So these are things which speaks volumes about the overall focus and priority of the present government. The present government's priority and focus is not on those areas which can bring the turnaround in the progress and prosperity of the state. In other words, the progress and prosperity of the state, the momentum at which it would have been seen, has been dislocated. Okay.
So another issue, how do you see this recent reshuffling of the portfolios? The power department being shifted from, taken from Mukul Sangma and then given to Pakistan. Will it help in addressing the alleged irregularities within the MEP?
See, let us be very clear on this. It's an important issue. We are talking about addressing the concern pertaining to alleged irregularities and alleged corruption. Why? Because any instance of alleged irregularity and alleged corruption affects the state's interests. It affects the people's interests. And in other words, it is against the interests of the state. Anybody who has a responsibility of taking charge of governance has this responsibility of protecting the interests of the state, have the responsibility of protecting the interests of the people. That is paramount. But here you see what is just the opposite. On the contrary, there has been a pressure coming from all coalition partners, the BJP, the UDP, and others. What happened? What happened? Is the investigation or independent inquiry, the process of independent inquiry pertaining to those alleged irregularities or alleged areas of corruption, are the investigation, independent investigation on for that? You look at the terms of reference, the TOR, when they have appointed a commission of inquiry under the relevant law. You look at it is complete dilution. Now, if there is a case of theft in one shop, okay, you want to have a proper investigation. Would you then say, okay, well, how many theft have been, there in Police Bazaar for last 10 years? You will go. This is how you will unearth the truth. What are they doing? You look at the terms of reference. It's a joke. It's a joke. And with that, effort, which is just an IWAS, every political party who is in the coalition and who have been so aggressive in demonstrating before the people of the state are now quiet, because they said, no, inquiry is going on. But you look at the intent of the inquiry. Is it going to yield the outcome that is required to be as on expected line if one has to unearth the truth pertaining to those areas of irregularities? No, it will not. It will never. You will never. What they say, okay, human resource management, this resource management, award of work, contract, all. We're talking about specific issues pertaining to Subhagya. We are talking specifically pertaining to the smart meters. Okay. Other thing, if there are, then you have another separate inquiry. You cannot club all the crime and have a process of administration of justice capable of doing the one which would like to actually happen. It cannot happen. So, friends, what I'm saying is that the whole drama was with an intent to play to the gallery, and that does not augur well for the state. The tendency of all those people who want to engage in acts of irregularities and acts of corruption, they will only get emboldened. When people go scot-free after engaging in activities which is against the interests of the people and against the interests of the state, if they go scot-free, what happens? They get emboldened. There'll be no deterrence. There'll be no fear for law. Therefore, it is only important that for all of us, if there is an instance of irregularity, an instance of alleged corruption which has been brought before us, we must take cognizance of those and do justice and be honest. Allow the law to take its own course in the right perspective, not that tempered way of terms of reference. You go through the terms of reference. You will then obviously understand what I'm referring to. It is an intent to tell people, look, inquiry is already on, but nothing is going to come out of the inquiry. Okay, keep it on record. I'm saying that.
So, Doctor, if this is an IWAT, what do you suggest? What should be the next step?
No, we will press for other inquiry, specific inquiry. Yeah, we will have to be practical. You cannot allow people to go scot-free after looting the state. There are many things going to come. Wait for the budget session.